going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. Michigan State basketball's 13-game win streak comes to an end with a 64-70 loss at USC on Saturday. Now, this was a weird game for Michigan State overall. They just really could not get anything going on the offensive end for most of the game. They played solid defense for good portions. USC did hit some really tough shots. Michigan State forced them into taking tough shots, but a lot of similar numbers when you look at the box scores for both teams. But USC just made a few plays, got out to too big of a lead early. Michigan State never led in this game. The game was never tied except at 0-0. So USC really controlled this thing from start to finish. Kind of disappointing in parts for Michigan State, but I think this can be a good thing going forward down this last month or so for Michigan State. But before we do jump into the matchup, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. So jumping into USC, I mean, they really live and die by their starters. They only had one guy off the bench play more than 8 minutes, and that was Josh Cohen, played 17 minutes for them off the bench. Clark Slajart played 8 minutes for them off the bench, but besides that, it was their starters. They really 7-man rotation, really 6-man rotation, if you want to, get down to the nitty gritty. But yeah, they had St. Thomas playing 40 minutes. Wesley Yates played 40 minutes, 40 for Chisbo Agbo. Desmond Claude was really good for them, 19 points on the night. Wesley Yates, the third, 15 points for them, and Agbo had 14 for them on the night. So overall, you have to give credit to USC for making shots, but looking over at Michigan State, again, this was a game that I thought that Michigan State should be able to, get in the paint and get some things going. Been asking for a Jackson Kohler offensive night. 2 points, not a good offensive night for Jackson Kohler. Only one for 2 from the field, got a 3-up, hit one 2-point shot in this one. 8 rebounds, though, solid there. Simone Zapala limited to only 7 minutes because there was a few times, especially on the defensive end, that it seemed like he kind of got lost in the sauce in the action, and he kind of got pulled. I think in the second half, it was barely 28 seconds in, and they already had Coop up coming off the bench to get him. So a rough game there, and really it was USC kind of forcing Michigan State to play. Yes, they were playing Coop. Coop played, what did Coop play in this game? Played 21 minutes. But at sometimes, especially when Michigan State was making their run in the first half after USC got up, they were playing Cohen Carr at the 5, which is what we've been asking for. Give us Cohen Carr at the 5. Give us Xavier Booker at the 5. Book played 12 minutes. He was doing some okay things. He had a nice and one opportunity in this one. Didn't get to go. But overall, only was able to create 3 shots there. And I feel like overall for Michigan State, they had the same amount of shots as USC, but it was not being able to get on the break that I think kind of haltered Michigan State's offense a little bit. They were USC's defense, which we talked about coming into the game, wasn't great. They were okay, but not anything to, write home about. Like Michigan State was, head and shoulders above them numbers-wise coming into the game defensively. And you have to give credit to USC there. They were forcing Michigan State into taking tough shots, and Michigan State just wasn't making those tough shots. Both teams, you look at it, both teams 24 for 57 from the field overall. And then a difference here for Michigan State. Actually, one of their, not higher, they have had higher, but 33% overall from 3-point range. 5 for 15 overall, 7 for 22 for USC. But 33%, I mean, that's above their season average. But I think when you get down and break down and look at everything here, it's you look at free throws for Michigan State. USC, same thing. Both shot 19 free throws, 11 for 19, 8 missed free throws for Michigan State, 15 for 19 for USC. Listen, 6-point game, you miss 8 free throws. Another thing here, 13 turnovers for Michigan State compared to 11 for USC. Right about their average. They are about at that average around the season. USC is. So Michigan State turned the ball over 2 more times than USC. You equate that maybe 1 score. It's really, you look at it, the inches are really everywhere around you throughout this game. They had opportunities to win. They had a nice out of bounds play drawn up for Coop, had the opportunity, missed the dunk, had a couple easy bunnies opportunities, had some free throws that they missed. Obviously, Cohen Carr, who has been incredible at the free throw line all year. 1 for 4 tonight from the free throw line. Jeremy Fears missed a couple late, 5 for 8 overall from the free throw line from him. But really, Jeremy Fears, while we're on him, he really probably had the best game for Michigan State. He played the most minutes, 27 minutes overall, 12 points, 6 assists. Didn't turn the ball over at all. Just had those couple missed free throws. Only 7 shots, though, which is the third most shots on the team. But I really would like to see him start more. He's getting into that paint. We saw a lot. And yes, he's looking to run the action, run some reverse action, or, look for a curl on the opposite side. But just raise up with that floater. We've seen him hit it. And with him leading the way tonight, 12 points, only 7 shots, I would have liked to see that number possibly get to double digits. Jaden Akins, 5 for 12, 11 points. And, you have to give it to Jaden Akins. Like, yes, he had that bad play at the end, which we'll get more into that kind of sequence at the end here in a second. But Jaden Akins, he was struggling in the first half and a good amount of the second half, but he was able to make some buckets to kind of keep them in it late. Just still not getting that 3-point shot going. 1 for 5 on the night for Jaden. But he was able to make some tough buckets overall, kind of down the stretch, kind of keep Michigan State afloat, keep kind of hanging within striking distance. Trey Holloman had a rough shooting night. 2 for 8 overall from the field. 2 for 8 for Frankie off the bench as well. He had 5.7 rebounds. But overall, Michigan State wasn't doing what we kind of talked about expecting coming into the game. We expected them to dominate on the boards, coming in, averaging about 40 rebounds a game. Only 34 on the glass tonight. And USC, who we said wasn't a good rebounding team, 33 rebounds on the night, which is just 1 above their average. Michigan State a little bit way under their average of about 40 rebounds a game. So really kind of, as we said, there's kind of just little things throughout this game that Michigan State, could have done to win this game. And, you look at the box score, score at halftime, 35-32 USC, score in the second half, 35-32 USC. So really kind of disappointing here that Michigan State wasn't able to pull this out. But again, you have to give credit to USC in this one. They just, as we said, it's those small plays, throughout this game that this thing, could have changed. And as we said, a decent shooting night from 3 for Michigan State in terms of numbers on the season overall. But it really comes down to, in my opinion, the free throw line, the free throw percentage in this one, not dominating as they should have on the glass by only winning the rebounding battle by 1. That shouldn't have happened. The turnovers in this one. And then really kind of something that we saw in the second half, really, and I guess some in the first half as well, but specifically thinking down the stretch here in this game, but it was those 50-50 balls. USC was just winning all those 50-50 balls. Michigan State was playing really good defense, forcing USC into taking long shots. But those, when you shoot threes, you're going to have off misses, you're going to have long rebounds. And there was a couple times just outside of the hands. I remember there was one Frankie had, kind of got ripped out of his hands, ended up getting fouled, I think, on the subsequent, move after that. The USC player did off that. A couple other ones just went right off of Spartan's hands there. So it's just the little things in this one. And I guess, yes, that's frustrating, but I think that's something to take moving forward. This wasn't a game where Michigan State came in and got absolutely waxed. Like, if we came in and lost 64-84 or something, like we lose by 20, 30 and just get absolutely waxed, like we have seen at times over the last couple years for Michigan State, I think that would be a different story here in this one. But this was only a 6-point game where Michigan State did not play a really good game at all. They were doing just enough to kind of, keep their head above water and stay within striking distance, but just didn't do those little things to get up and tie the game, take the lead, and win the game at the end of this one. But overall, I think this is something, a little bit of adversity. Haven't had adversity really since Thanksgiving, since that Memphis game. So I think this can be good. Now, going towards kind of the ending sequence, last 2 minutes, minute and a half here, I don't understand that. Yes, the Jaden Akins possession where shot clock violation, didn't get a shot up. That was bad. I still do not understand in that moment why Jace Richardson was not on the court. Like, yes, Jaden can get his own shot. We've seen it at times this year, definitely and throughout his career. But really, kind of throughout this whole year, we have seen your best one-on-one, you need a shot playmaker for a good majority of the season has been Jace Richardson. Like I'd say, I put Jaden Akins, right there behind him. But, and you can even make an argument that they're kind of even in terms of just shot making overall and, getting your own shot, which is what they were kind of trying to do there. Because in that kind of situation, if you're having the person with the ball not being the one whose action you're trying to get to score and get a bucket in that situation, then why not have the ball in Jeremy Fears' hands, who's having a really good game and obviously really good distributing the ball? Why not have him creating this action and trying to maybe create some diversion for a curl off of, Jaden Akins to get open for a three, even though he struggled from three this game, have him curling off for a three on one wing off a creation from Fears, or if you have Jace Richardson in the game, if not, get Colin Carr slashing, something there. And I believe I'll have to go back. I'm recording this pretty soon after the game ended, but pretty sure Carson Cooper was on the floor at that time. I don't understand, especially for offense. I think at that point was when Michigan State still had, 3 timeouts. So I'm not saying at that point you should be playing offense, defense, everything. But it's like, okay, at that point you can put Jace in, and we've seen when Michigan State was making that run in the first half, it was with Colin Carr at the 5, and he's athletic enough to hang in there. Now, if USC is going to dump the ball down every time and back you down, okay, that you might have to make some moves, because then you're going to be doubling off, and then you're going to be playing swing tic-tac-toe basketball to get wide open threes for USC. But overall, I just would have loved to see Jace on the floor there, and even if the ball was in Jaden Akins' hands to create there, at least you have another threat on the court, because I feel like then in that situation, if you have, with the personnel they had on the floor, if you have Jeremy spread out to one side, you have Cohen spread out to the other side, their defenders are going to, slack off. Like, yes, Cohen's made a couple threes. They're still going to slack off of him. Same thing with Jeremy. He hasn't shot a lot of threes. He's made a couple, but they're going to slack off as well. And they're going to be, say, if Cohen was in the corner, I believe he was on that play. If Jeremy was on the opposite right side wing, they're going to be elbows and boxes right there. They're going to be packing that paint. And when Jaden drives, that's where he's going. He's going to the paint. We've seen that, really well, contorting his body, getting to the lane, getting the ball off the glass and scoring, even drawing fouls at times, getting to the basket. So that was really kind of the first time in a long while that kind of questioned, like, hey, what are we doing here? Down the stretch, at least personnel-wise. Now, I know at times down the stretch, they were able to get to that Jeremy Fears, Carson Cooper pick and roll action, and that did work, getting lobs to the basket at times. But I just don't like, if we're not going to have Coop, or whether if you had Zapala in the game, if you have one of them in the game in that situation, if you're not going to be involving them in some type of pick and roll action or pick pop to get the pop pass to DHO to something else, to some other action, then I don't really understand. At that point, just put another shooter on the floor so you can spread that thing out. So if Jeremy is creating, he has more room to get to the paint. So yeah, I just would have liked to see better execution down the stretch there for Michigan State. But as I said, overall, look, 18-3, 9-1 in conference. If you told us after 10 conference games and after 21 games overall this season that Michigan State would be 18-3, 9-1 in the conference, 7th in the country, probably will drop a little bit on Monday here in the rankings. But if you would have told us all that beginning of November, I guarantee you every single Spartan fan would have absolutely taken that. So you do have a tough game on Tuesday at UCLA. And as we said, this whole month, the remainder of the season and going into March, Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, it's going to be tough. And Michigan State has put themselves in a good position with how they played in December and in January to give themselves still about a half a game lead or so, really a game lead in the loss column in the Big Ten standings over Purdue. So you've put yourself in a good position here overall going into this last month or so to be in contention for a Big Ten title. Now, that being said, Michigan State, big game on Tuesday. Then they have another big game against Oregon next Saturday. It doesn't get easier. You have Indiana, you have Illinois, you have Purdue, you have that school down the road. So you're going to be playing all these teams at the top of the standings. So I can't wait to see how this team responds on Tuesday. Tom Izzo still one game away from tying Bob Knight for the all-time Big Ten wins. lead here, and 2 games away from taking that lead. So another chance for that on Tuesday to tie Bob Knight's record there for Tom Izzo. But overall, again, like I said, looking this forward to see how this team responds on Tuesday at UCLA. 10 o'clock tip for that one, again, on Peacock, I believe. But anyway, we'll be back with a preview for that one. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.